In the evening, when G came to let him out, he saw, to his horror, that his precious wineskins, which were maturing there, had all been emptied. When a slightly tipsy and entirely unrepentant O emerged, G laughingly exclaimed, "Oh, Ouspensky, there's no getting past you." 3. On pages 48 to 50 of the book In Search of the Miraculous, there is an account of the 3 traditional ways, and the 4th way, or as G called it, the way of the sly man. O did not much like the term sly, which implied trickery and dishonesty. Still, I heard him on convivial evenings several times recount to his circle an amusing story which relates to a later time when some of the group had escaped from Russia to Constantinople. They went to G rather pleased with this concoction of theirs. One day, Sly Man met up with the devil in a Constantinople cafe and found him looking miserable and half-starved. Sitting down with him, Sly Man said, "You seem to be going through hard times." "Yes," said the devil. "As you know, I feed on men's souls, but nowadays few people have souls, so I'm starving." They talked about things in general, and Sly Man gave him a second cup of coffee, and at what seemed to be the right moment, he remarked casually, "Suppose we do a deal. You teach me how to enable men to make souls for themselves, and then I'll hand them over to you, see?" The deal being concluded, the devil taught the Sly Man all about self-remembering and work in a group. New paragraph. G promptly capped the story. Time went on, he said. The groups were successful and people began to grow souls. One day, a member of the group died and appeared at the Golden Gates. St. Peter was delighted and asked him how he managed to produce a soul. Sly Man told him about his group and the technique of self-remembering. At once, several devils jumped on him and conveyed him to the nethermost hell. "Why on earth?" asked Petrov. Haven't you heard the rule about not talking?" said G. "But St. Peter, surely. When was St. Peter a member of our group? You must keep the rules or you'll end up in hell." The above must not be taken seriously, but it makes a point, and also shows the difference in their teaching. For O cut all connections with the devil, and with what G used to call during his demonstrations tricks, half-tricks, and real things. There is, of course, much more of such material if you haven't already got it. 2 things I'd like to mention. One, that, as is described in the book In Search of the Miraculous, O's notice was first drawn to the existence of Gurdjieff by an advertisement that appeared in the Voice of Moscow while he was editing a newspaper, announcing the ballet of the magicians. My first acquaintance with this ballet, as printed by the Sturton Press, was one time at Mendham during a visit by a lady from Paris who claimed to have been kicked downstairs by Agrigent, when Mr. Ouspensky had it read aloud to us. It created a great impression. It's a marvelous book, showing the kind of atmosphere from which G emerged. But my own interest relates chiefly to page 16, where the magician outlines the doctrine of cosmoses, which Ouspensky was to develop so greatly later. And also to page 18, where it is described that certain sacred dances were done in the magician's presence. Which are considered to be one of the principal subjects of study in all esoteric schools of the East, both in ancient times and at the present day. The movements of which these dances consist have a double purpose. They express and contain a certain knowledge, and at the same time they serve as a method of attaining a harmonious state of being. Combinations of these movements express different sensations, produce varying degrees of concentration of thought, create necessary efforts in different functions, and show the possible limits of individual force. We have a photograph of a painting by an artist who was present at a demonstration of these movements at G's place, the Prairie, near Fontainebleau, which shows Mr. Ouspensky and Madame amongst many others.